When you think of the words teen media, there are many things to think of. Romance, drama, friends. It is one of the largest and most influential parts of the media industry. It sets the trends, styles, and culture, and shapes generations. One of the most recognizable things about teen media, though, is its romanticization of the teenage experience. Time and time again, we see this idea that being a teenager is the best time of your life. And yes, being a teenager is great, but it's also such a hard time in life. With all the challenges and new experiences we face, we can be selfish and awful people sometimes, but that doesn't make us bad people. What Freaks and Geeks does so well is tear away these rose-colored glasses and make us witness the reality of being a teen, the growing pains, the mistakes, and all the lows, while still showing us the beauty in life. Though the show is set in 1981 America, the experience is a universal one that anyone can relate to. The show centers around the lives of two siblings, Lindsay and Sam Weir. Sam is a freshman, hanging out with his only two friends, nursing a crush on a cheerleader, and learning what the high school experience is like. On the other hand, Lindsay, after the death of her grandmother, has been feeling extremely disillusioned. Desperate for a change from her previously conservative life, she starts hanging out with the freaks, partying and being rebellious. The perfect thing about this show is that it balances Sam's sweet naivety and Lindsay's jaded outlook on life.
At assembly today, they did these improvisations about drinking and driving. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I saw. That's why I left.
Especially in the first few episodes, Sam is so terrified of who Lindsay is hanging out with and what she does with them. In episode 2, when Sam, Neil, and Bill discover Lindsay's having a party, they scramble to try and stop everyone from drinking. It just goes to show how innocent they are. In other teen media, parties are typically portrayed solely as good fun, but the boys are so scared of alcohol. On the other hand, though, the older kids run at the chance to get drunk. Despite the fact that they're drinking placebo beer, they get drunk and act out. It shows a dark reality that teenagers desperately want to escape their real lives. Lindsay cries about her one-sided crush on Daniel, and Nick tries to make a move on her. When she doesn't reciprocate, he blames it on the fact that
John Bonham died.
But this doesn't break their friendship. The next episode, it's like nothing happened. None of the things that the freaks do is ever romanticized, but it's also not criticized. They're not cool for being perpetually drunk or high, skipping school 24/7, and generally being assholes to a bunch of people. But they're not horrible lowlives either. They're kids who have struggles and do these things in response to these struggles. The show is never preachy or judgmental and gives time to develop all its characters and justify their actions. Despite being only a season long, each character has a nice, complete arc. Nick, while sometimes being quite misguided, clearly has a hard time at home with his father's strict rules. Daniel may act tough, but he's truly just a guy who's lost in life.
What do you want me to do? I'm in high school.
Kim also struggles with her parents and acts out because of it. Ken gets his own sweet storyline with his girlfriend, where he learns about being a generally nice person. I mean, even Alan gets to have a motivation for his horrible.
A model of the Saturn V in for show and tell, and I asked you guys if I could shoot off rockets with you, and you said no. So what, I'm supposed to be all nice to you guys and stuff? I like comic books and science fiction too, but you guys never asked me to hang out.
The scene when he's in Bill's hospital room talking about how they never included him just emphasizes how every character has justification for all they do. The geeks are quite a nice parallel to the freaks. Being young and from fairly sheltered families, they haven't had the experiences that the freaks have had. But now, in high school, they begin to face their own problems and discover reality. Sam spent the whole seasons pining after Cindy Sanders, going out of his way to put them in situations where he can see her. But in his pursuits to date the pretty cheerleader, he didn't actually think about her personality, and discovers they weren't quite the match he thought they'd be. Bill generally doesn't understand Sam and Neil's desperation to sometimes be less dorky, and is able to embrace his true self a lot easier than the other two.
What are you allergic to, Bill?
Well, a lot of things are on that list, like bees and air and cats and dogs. Well, not dogs. Well, some dogs. If I eat a peanut, I could die.
But he has his own problems, especially when he discovers his mum is dating the sports coach, which couldn't be any worse for someone who can't play sports. But Neil has probably the most heartbreaking story of the three, when he discovers that his cool father has in fact been cheating on his mum. He struggles greatly with the idea of telling her, only to find out that his older brother knew about it the whole time and had been ignoring it. In all these stories, the problems aren't over-dramatized either. It is how the world is, and they all deal with it in rational ways. The problems are given their weight, but their daily lives occur alongside these things, and actions in each episode are influenced with what the kids are dealing with in the moment. But I think the person that demonstrates the realistic portrayal of teenage life the most is Lindsay herself. Clearly, her grandmother's death had a big impact on her, causing her to reflect on her life and decide that a little bit of rebellion is in order. So, she hangs out with the freaks, and she parties a little bit, skips school, plays pranks, and ultimately has a lot of fun. She even has a brief and awkward, but kind of sweet relationship with Nick. It may not have been the best, but it was a new experience for her. But despite all these good experiences, she also had plenty of bad ones. The freaks always led her to trouble, whether it be accidentally pelting Sam with eggs, getting caught cheating on a maths exam with Daniel, or stealing her father's car, only to get in an accident. Time and time again, she ends up in a mess.
And you are not to hang out with those burnt-out friends of yours. Ever again. Ever. You hear me?
Don't worry. I won't.
She sheds her signature green jacket and goes back to her old clothes, dressing far more like Millie now. Yet, what she discovers when she's there is that ultimately she doesn't belong with them anymore. She's changed as a person, and now she belongs with the freaks. She's able to understand when they do wrong, but also the fact that they're making mistakes, just like her, like everyone else, and the strength of their friendship is really what matters. In the finale, all this growth is presented in all the older characters. Daniel sheds his tough exterior playing D&D with the AV club. Nick is able to explore his new interests with his new girlfriend, and even reveals to Lindsay that he quit smoking pot. And Lindsay, she leaves the academic summit and everyone behind to go follow the Grateful Dead with Kim. How her classmate describes their concerts is truly how the whole show represents the beauty of friendship and teenagehood.
Really, what it's all about is being together and having a good time, as one. Judging has nothing to do with it.
Being a teenager can be an extremely tough phase in life, but it is also a beautiful one. Yes, we make mistakes. Yes, we face challenges. But we also get to have new experiences. We smile, we cry, we laugh, and we love. But most importantly, we live. And that is what Freaks and Geeks is able to capture so beautifully.